Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe Archino back here. And when you look at the way that the landscape is unfolding in Serie A, there's a lot of things that have been happening. Obviously, Juventus has kind of started to reassert their dominance over the league. But Roma, the club that they just defeated 1-0 this past weekend, one of the best matchups in all of Italian football. I think news has kind of shifted more on a positive note to Roma with the return with Stephan Shaarawy on loan now to Roma. Now, this is a player who's been on the Italian national team, who's shown prowess in scoring goals, and right now that is the desperate thing that Roma needs. Out of the top 6 clubs in Serie A last season, Roma had the fewest goals, and that's a big statement right there. This season we have seen that continue to extend. Obviously, Rudy Garcia is out, Luciano Spalletti is in, and he's kind of, I think, priority number one for him is giving this team some form of offensive threat. They haven't had it. It's been such a struggle getting this team to be a dangerous side when it comes to that. But they have struggled from a massive perspective getting goals, and that's why we saw last season during the second half this inability to ever get out of 1-1 draws. It just seemed like every weekend was just the same result each time and the same story. But Spalletti has a lot of work to do, and I think having a guy like Shaarawy clearly makes things a little bit easier. Now, it's still, you need help. Obviously, Gervinho is most likely on his way out, and that's why Shaarawy is now on his way in. He did fail to score in 15 appearances for Monaco, which you do worry about because, let's be honest, Ligue 1 is not the same level as the other core ones. It's not La Liga. It's not the Premier League. It's not Serie A. It's not the Bundesliga. It is definitely a toned down. I mean, it really seems like it has been so heavily dominated by Paris Saint-Germain that everyone else is kind of never even close to that same level as they are. But even with that said, I do still think he has shown the ability to score and score in bunches when in Italy. And I think for a player, it's very difficult to make the transition to Serie A. I think that's the physicality of the league, this defensive pace of the league is very hard to get adjusted to. That's why we see in the Champions League Italian teams always doing so well against German teams. Tactically, it's very difficult to get up and prepare for an Italian side. So the fact that he's coming back to a league that he's shown comfort in, that he's shown the ability to score in, I think that is good news for Roma, who clearly are desperate for strikers, for guys who can just create offense, create mismatches and opportunities, because Roma's a side with talent in the midfield. I think they have a pretty good back line, but again, they just don't generate anything offensively. Edin Dzeko, I thought when he made the move from Manchester City to Roma, that was going to be the guy there, and he was going to give them that offensive edge that he needed. And it seemed like for the first couple weeks of the season, that was very true. But things unfolded, and Dzeko hasn't been what Roma, I think, intended him to be. Now they have a new man, El Shaarawy, who makes that transfer, and it's good for them. I think the comfort, the being needed is something too, which is always interesting. I think for a young player like that, Roma is in Serie A. You have the very top-heavy traditional clubs, the Juves, the AC Milans, the Inters, the Romas. Every club means something. But I think Roma is one of those, just such an iconic one, just what that city means. Roma is so important to them, and in coming to a stage as big as that for a young player like this who's done things for the national team and has shown a great ability and being needed, that's very important there too. And it's kind of, we're seeing a new age take effect for Roma. The days of Francesco Totti being there are coming down to its end. Daniele De Rossi, the guys who have been the face of Roma for so long, they're starting to kind of need to look at the future a little bit. I think a young player like this coming back to Serie A, filling a role Roma needs, could definitely be interesting. And I thought based on what we just saw this weekend in the match against Juve, it just kind of reemphasized everything we know about Roma. They struggle to score goals. For a side like Juve, who defends so well, and their counterattack is terrific as well, they found that goal, and once they did, I mean, let's be honest, Paulo Dybala could have scored 2 goals in this game. You knew Roma was at a very big disadvantage whenever they get down because their offense is just not there. They're never going to win in big scoring contests. They desperately need strikers, and I think with this current move, that could very well improve what they want to do, but we will certainly see. Until next time, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram Jersey_Joe_Archino, and we'll be back next time.